of vocabulary and structures of sentences, of paragraphs, or something like that. And classroom activities are often designed for focus on complementing tasks that are mediated through language or involve negotiation of information and information sharing. We can do these activities with other classmates. If you can share the information with another classmate, is better because he can share information that you didn't know, and you can share to him or her the information too. The pair work is very important because you can answer questions and at the same time you are developing your task questions. You can be able to develop a conversation with the other person, and this is very useful in communicative competence language. The role of the teacher and the role of the student is completely different. The learner is a negotiator between himself and the learning process and the object of learning. The implication is that the learner has to acquire his or her own knowledge by an independent way. The teacher only gave the tools, and the learner has to have responsibility to can have a better competence in his or her language. He expects primarily interact with their classmates rather than with the teacher, because the persons who want to learn has to learn in an independent way. The learner can give and receive information. The teacher's role: the teacher needs to be analyst, counselor. He has to create a group of process manager, and he has to participate as a guide, as a monitor. He assumes the responsibility to determine and responding the activities, the good activities that he considered that are the better activities, and he works based on the needs of the student, and he has a plan before teaching those activities. He has to, for example, he leaves a homework, and the student has to investigate that homework, and for the other day he shares the information that he has investigated with the other classmates, and the other classmates do the same thing, and in this they can share their information, and they can make interaction between them, and they these activities are meaningful for this, and there in this environment could be feedback in some, and the class has to be organized for the teacher. In this approach, there are some theories that about the activities. The activities that could be used in a classroom are books, text-based materials. There are numerous of textbooks in the classroom that could be used, and it can support the CLT. Task-based materials as games, role plays, simulations. The classroom could have different activities. For example, one student play a role of, for example, customer, and the other one is the who attends the shopping. And there they can make a conversation, a great conversation. Then really in these activities that can be magazines or advertisements, the use of newspapers, pictures, symbols, and those type of activities can be used. Finally, as conclusion, we can see that communicative language teaching is an approach rather than a method. An approach refers to a set of principles that study the use of language and how can be acquired the second language. And a method couldn't be, because a method has a sequence of steps, and this is not the same. This approach has passed for numerous phases, and this could be the best way to learn or teach a second language. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's that time of the show. We have to wrap it up. We only have a few minutes left. So as a conclusion, I can say that CLT is best considered an approach rather than a method. CLT comes back from previous approaches that failed and were left off, such as the audiolingual method and SLT, situational language teaching. Another conclusion that I have is that CLT has passed through a number of different phases in order to get to where it is right now, and that the applied linguistics that were involved in this had to go through a number of processes and phases, like I mentioned, in order to get the approach that we know of now, CLT. Um, well, I believe that COT is a great approach, not only because it focuses on using the language in the real world, but because it also allows students to learn a language, a second language or a foreign language, in a more natural process in which learners first discover how to use the language, and then they discover how is it that the language works. And like we all know, when we first learn our first language, we do not know that we are learning a language. When we are babies, we just repeat. We say what our mothers say, and through interpretation, we manage to learn the language and to use it. The same thing is for COT. First, they allow you to learn the language to be able to communicate. They allow you to have interaction with your partners, your classmates, in order to create a more real life situation. This is better for me because, like I said, it allows us to use the language. We are able to communicate, and at the end of the day, you learn the language to use it and not just to know the structures of it. So this is why I believe that COT is a great approach. I believe that COT is an excellent way of learning a foreign language, and I also believe that the materials used to learn a language in COT are are excellent because there are a wide variety of activities, and it's up to us to decide how is it that we want to learn the language. And COT really motivates students. Why? Because, like I said, it actually allows us to use our language in the real life world rather than just to learn it from the textbooks and to just leave it off like that. This is why I believe that COT is a great approach. And that's it for today. That's my conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you next time on our show official. Bye bye.